So our next lesson on families, we've got more modern families in the UK. We're on page 72, 73. So we'll learn about other types of family to understand how and why we have some new types. Cohabiting, if you live with somebody without being married to them, it's called cohabiting. Okay, the rest of these words will come up across during the lesson. So first off, let's talk about the modern nuclear family. So the traditional, mom, dad, kids, they're married, dad works, mum doesn't. The modern one is much more complicated. You could say there's lots of families where it fits that bill, except they're not married. The mother and the father are not married. Yeah? The kids are bastards. Yeah? Now, this is a really interesting word. This was quite a strong insult 50 to 100 years ago. So to be a child born when your parents weren't married was quite a big deal. Think about it today. No one cares about this anymore. Hence, this word has lost its meaning. But you could also have a modern nuclear family in the sense that both parents work and share the childcare, the domestic duties. So there's more than one sort of modern nuclear family. Yeah, it gets more complicated. We've got a lot more work to do on this in future lessons. We could have reconstituted families. As divorce has gone up, people starting new relationships, that's also written. So man and woman get married, have kids. They get divorced, so the father leaves the family home. Later on, the mother meets a new partner, and he moves in. That becomes what we call a reconstituted family. It was broken apart and then put back together again. That's the reconstituted bit. Stepdads. Lone parent families. Yeah. Now we need to look at the reasons why these exist, and there's three basic ones. There's older, more middle class women, it's because of divorce. Working class younger women, it's because they never got married in the first place. There's also amongst a lot of working class, what's called the deadbeat dad syndrome. Yeah? Girl gets pregnant, bloke just buggers off. Yeah? So there's more than one reason why you could be in a lone parent family. It's not just divorce. Phases. Phases, meaning periods of time. Think about it. Lots of people pass through various phases. You may be born into, when you're born, maybe in a nuclear family. Then there's a marital breakup. You're in a lone parent family for a while. A few years later, mum might meet somebody else. Suddenly you're in a reconstituted family. Phases. It means you're not stuck in one sort of family. Over the course of your childhood, the course of your life, you may well move from one type to another. Depends on what period of life it is, what phase of your life. More recently, same-sex families. Civil partnerships, we've recognised in law, the homosexual people have the right to legally have a family, and in fact can now adopt kids or have kids. Now, the gay men adopting children, is what the papers love to talk about, is really rare. What's much more common is two women who already have kids from previous heterosexual relationships, realising they're gay, and that's the same-sex family. That's much more common. So two women raising their own kids, that's quite common. There's the empty nest family. As people live longer, and as their kids move out earlier, you find yourself living in an empty, so you're a parent, your kids are grown up, they've left home, you're in a big house, or just a house in fact. It's called the empty nest family. There's the beanpole family. I'll explain this. So here's an old-fashioned family tree. One person, one couple having loads of kids. Each of those having loads of kids. It looks like a bush. But now people only have a couple of kids, which means that the family tree structure looks more like a long, thin beanpole rather than a big, bushy tree. It's a beanpole family. It just means less children. Yeah, there are less children, fewer people in each generation. Yeah. Few facts. 10% of British families are lone parents. Yeah. However, 24% of kids live in a long parent family, a quarter, and they're nearly all mums. The long parent family in this case is nearly all mums. But a third of kids spend some time in a long parent family. Remember phases? But only 3% of long parent families are teenage mothers. Not very many. Now for that, we'll do this exam question. A very common sort of question. Discussed so far, blah, blah, blah. The nuclear family is still the normal in contemporary Britain. Britain today, that means.